as I have said, that the company typically buys many hundreds and thousands of items, and it is very important to classify them under certain categories and identify the strategic items where there will be extra emphasis placed by the strategic sourcing function and the department and the group of people involved in that. But it's very important to understand what are the different types of items such a company is buying. Many companies do an ABC analysis, but that's typically only one-dimensional, and it doesn't take into account many different types of factors which are involved in classifying the different types of items. So the commonly used ones for this purpose is called Kraljic matrix, which is developed by a McKinsey consultant way back in the 80s and early 90s, but it has been sort of adapted and modified, and which I think is very relevant for even food companies here. So if you look at the two axes of it, one is supply risk. The supply risk itself is multidimensional. It involves availability of the item, obviously the number of suppliers who can supply those kind of items or ingredients for food companies, whether those items can be substituted, whether there are any storage risks involved, what is the volatility of prices of those particular items or ingredients or commodities, and the probability of supply disruption. So these can be typically assessed to find out what is the extent of supply risk for that particular item or commodity. On the other hand, it can be a profit impact, which is based on the overall volume purchased, the percentage of total purchase cost which is attributed to that particular item or commodity, and impact of product quality on business growth. So again, these are representative examples by which a company can assess the profit impact and assess the supply risk. And once this is done, we can create sort of a 2x2 matrix as shown here. There can be some non-critical items, typically again which are called C-class items. Supply risk is low, profit impact is low. There can be certain items like where supply risk is low, but profit impact is high. Many of the food-related commodities will be such where profit impact is very high. So it takes any commodities like wheat or sugar. Obviously, there are many supply sources globally which can supply those commodities, and the company's emphasis will be to continuously exploit purchasing power and minimizing cost because they have also been procured in large volumes. There are some bottleneck items which are maybe very specialized ingredients or items which are need for a particular food product where supply risk is high. Profit impact may not be high that much if there are potential substitutes, but they are bottleneck items. And there will be certain items where the supply risk is extremely high, at the same time profit impact is high. These are sort of the core ingredients or the core raw material for any food company. Obviously for a fish processing company, if they're buying salmon or cod or tuna, and I mean that's their core product, and they're processing that product to maybe come out with different types of products. Or if it's a tomato ketchup or a sauce or those kind of processed food item manufacturer, maybe even vegetables like tomato is obviously a strategic item because that's very important for the quality. At the same time, obviously we look at that all of these be it fresh fish or meat or fresh vegetables, there is always an inherent supply risk associated with it. Why this is important for companies to do this kind of an analysis for the kind of items and the ingredients they buy is to have different types of sourcing strategies. So what we mention here is for the non-critical items, the focus will be obviously on simplifying the purchasing process. For bottleneck items, the focus will be on ensuring supply. For leverage items, the focus will be on exploiting purchasing power and ensure that we get the minimum price for that. And for strategic items, obviously, it's long-term partnerships and more collaborative relationship and joint development and so on. But many companies I've seen still do not have this kind of a very clear understanding of what kind of sourcing strategies they should follow for the different types of raw materials or ingredients or items they buy. And unless that is done, it becomes almost a daily nightmare for many sourcing professionals in the food industry. If that clarity is not there, they're probably involved in buying multiple commodities, and they don't really look at how the strategies should differ. I mean, there may be some person involved in buying multiple items, but these items, if they have very different characteristics in terms of supply risk and profit impact, obviously they need to fine-tune the strategies, the sourcing strategies based on that.